Welcome back to the Bark and Bite, everybody. My name is Brandon Baker of Black Dog Barbecue, and today I'm teaming back up with Charbroil Grills to show you how to make smash burgers with a holiday theme. Let's check it out. By now, most people are familiar with smash burgers, and for those who are not, they really became popular, I want to say, right before COVID, so around that 2019 period. And, honestly, this is the only way that I make burgers anymore. I absolutely love smash burgers, especially in comparison to more of your traditional burger. And the reason being is your traditional burger is going to be thicker, but it's not necessarily going to get that nice crisp exterior to it. Whereas with smash burgers, you're using significantly less beef. Most of the patties you want are going to be somewhere between about a quarter pound or even less sometimes. And so what that does is once you press it down, it's going to make a nice crispy exterior to that beef, so you get that great beef flavor. You get the fat from it as well, but you also get a nice crispy outside. It makes for a great bite, which I love, but there are a few factors to consider to make sure you get the best out of your beef to make the best smash burgers. The first of those factors being you want to make sure you're choosing the right beef. Now, when you're making smash burgers, it is a little bit different than when you're making traditional burgers, when you're looking at beef, when you're at the grocery store, because what you're looking for is beef that's 80-20, meaning 80% meat and 20% fat. That fat not only delivers flavor, but it's going to help that beef stick together when you're pressing it down so that it keeps its shape without breaking apart. So for instance, if you're someone who tends to pick beef that's on the leaner side, so think like a 90-10 mix or a 93-7 mix, you really need to scale that back and go for an 80-20 mix when you're making smash burgers to give you better results. And the last two factors to consider to make sure that you get the most out of those smash burgers relate to its time on the grill. So number one, you want to make sure that that grill is hot enough. You don't want to be cooking these smash burgers at a medium or medium-low temperature. You want a hot grill, right? Or griddle, excuse me, is typically how I will do that. And really you want that to be anywhere from about 500 degrees and above is ideal. You can do it lower, maybe about 400 degrees, which I've done in the past, but you're gonna get the best results when you have a hotter surface temperature with your griddle. Now, the last thing to pay attention to is to make sure that you don't flip the beef too early. You wanna make sure that it has enough time so it can get a nice char on the bottom side of it, or else you're missing out on one of the best parts of making smash burgers, right? So make sure that you give it enough time. Check if you need to using a spatula to see if it's got a nice crisp exterior on the bottom. And then once it has, you can give it a flip. Now, if you keep those factors in mind, you're gonna be well on your way to making some excellent smash burgers that both you and then whoever else you may be making those for are all gonna love. Now that I've walked you through those steps, I'm gonna show you how I prepare my beef to make those smash burgers, as well as I'm gonna show you how to make a cranberry aioli for a festive finish to those burgers. So today for my smash burgers, I'm gonna be using Schweid & Sons pre-made smash burger patties. And what this is ground beef that's made of both brisket and chuck roast. It's one of those things that it's just easy to do and it's more convenient, so I've been tending to go this route lately instead of just getting the traditional ground beef from the store. Not to say that there's anything wrong with doing that. I've done it a ton of times before, but it does take an extra step and a little bit more work. It's not a lot, but this is just simpler. Today I'm going to be seasoning these with just a traditional steakhouse seasoning. Honestly, you can go salt and pepper. It's perfectly fine. My only suggestion is that when you're seasoning the ground beef for smash burgers, that you're not using a sugary rub. That is going to burn on the grill because, again, you're trying to cook at higher temperatures. So now I'm just going to take off the packaging and go ahead and season these up. All right, I just seasoned those up. They're good to go. And so now the only thing I got to do is grill these up. All right, so as you can see, we've got a nice hot griddle surface. So I'm going to go ahead and add that ground beef to the griddle top. And then once I do, I'm gonna smash them down. One thing to consider when you're smashing those burgers down, you wanna make sure two things. First off, you do wanna make sure that you've got some sort of separator between what you're smashing those burgers with and the ground beef itself. I like to use parchment paper most of the time, but if you don't have that and you wanna go more of an organic route, you can also use thinly sliced onions as well. They do a really nice job. The second thing you wanna consider is what you're smashing those burgers with. You don't wanna use just any spatula that's flimsy for this. You wanna use something that's got a little bit of weight to it. I've got one that is specifically a burger press. It does a fantastic job. It's nice and heavy, but I've also used larger spatulas in the past. The big thing that you just want to consider again is its weight. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you're gonna let these burgers cook for just a couple of minutes because you do want to get a nice crispy exterior on that underside. So you can check it around the 3-minute mark, see what it's looking like. And if it starts to crisp up, like I mentioned, you can go ahead and give it a flip. If that's not the case, you can give it another minute or two, and by that time, it should be ready to go. And once you do make that flip, you want to go ahead and add cheese if you're going to be adding that to your smash burgers, and then you can just close the lid. By closing the lid, it's going to help that cheese to melt faster, which is going to be helpful for those burgers because by this time, it's really almost done cooking. Because you got to remember, again, these are very thin burger patties. Now, once that cheese is melted and the burgers are cooked all the way through, what I personally like to do is go ahead and make a double stack. And the reason that I do that is, again, these patties are only 2.5 ounces each that I'm using here today, so they're on the thinner side. By going ahead and stacking them together, that cheese kind of congeals with the beef to make sure that they stick together well for your burger. It's not something that you have to do, but personally, I found it to be helpful. Now, lastly, I'm going to show you how to make that cranberry aioli. And most of the time with smash burgers, I'm just going to make a classic burger sauce, but it is the holidays, so I want to put a little bit more of that festive theme that I mentioned on it. And best part about it is I went ahead and made cranberry sauce earlier this week, which you can see right here. So I've already got it on hand and it's ready to go. So as you can see with the consistency of this, it's a lot thinner than what you'd expect from a traditional cranberry sauce, right? So when I made this, I did much like anybody else would do if you're making a homemade cranberry sauce, and I went ahead and made that in a skillet. But I took a next step and I went ahead and threw this in the blender just so that it could have that smoother consistency, which is going to be better for your burgers. Now, when I made this cranberry sauce, I really did stay pretty traditional with it, but I added a couple flavor enhancements in there. I added a 1/4 cup of bourbon, as well as some orange juice to go with some brown sugar to give this cranberry sauce plenty of flavor. So what I'm gonna do now, just to make sure that this cranberry sauce isn't too sweet, is I'm gonna mix it in a bowl with a little bit of mayonnaise and then just a little bit of lemon juice as well, just to brighten it up a little bit. That's gonna mellow out that flavor just a tad, so it's gonna go better with the burgers. And you don't need to have perfect ingredient measurements for this. You can kind of taste it as you go and see how you like it. Again, there's really only 3 ingredients at this point that you're adding, so just kind of adjust that to taste. Take a couple spoonfuls. Try not to make too big of a mess like me. Add some mayonnaise too. Always helpful to have paper towels around you while you're cooking. I don't know about you guys, I make a mess all the time. So just my 2 cents. So last thing that I'm gonna do, like I mentioned, is I'm gonna add some lemon juice. And I've got some pre-cut lemons, so I'm just gonna use part of a half that I've got right here, just to add that juice. Doesn't need to be a whole half. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount at all. You just wanna help brighten those other flavors, like I mentioned, which is what a lemon does because it's acidic. Just gonna mix that up. Give it a taste. It's gonna be really good. It's got that tartness from the cranberries, but like I mentioned, that mayonnaise does help to really mellow it out, so it's not too overpowering. The last thing to do is build up your burgers. And really, you can do this with a number of different toppings. Me, I went a little bit fancy today. I got the brioche buns. Typically, I don't. I'll go with the cheapest thing I find in the store, but here we are today. And like I mentioned, I'm using that cranberry aioli, as well as some lettuce and tomatoes. Those are the toppings I always use. And I also use some of this pre-made bacon jam, just again for the convenience factor there. You could certainly make it from scratch, but if I've got a good product that's pre-made, it just helps save that time. This is a spicier version too, so it's gonna add a little bit of heat to go with that sweet from that cranberry aioli. Now, quick sidebar here, I forgot to mention that I cooked up these smash burgers today using my Charbroil Pro Series 3-burner gas grill. And if you follow the channel, you know this is a grill that I use all the time. Reason being is, yes, you can use it as a gas grill as it's traditionally used, but today, as you could see, I was using the griddle insert that you can get with it as well, which makes it super versatile and it's perfect for smash burgers. The other thing that you can do if you wanted to is there's a charcoal insert. So if you wanted to cook over charcoal to get that flavor, maybe it's a steak, maybe it's wings, you could do that too. But with that being said, these burgers are now done, so the only thing left to do is give it a try. Telling you guys, I wish you could try it. These are delicious. Probably has a different flavor profile than what you're used to for a smash burger sauce, but again, that's not a bad thing, right? And that mayonnaise and the cranberry aioli did just enough to really mellow out that flavor, like I mentioned earlier, to where it really pairs really nicely with this. It's like any other sweet sauce you might throw on a burger if that's something that you're into. Take another bite. So good. And with that, we've wrapped up today's video. As always, make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe so you can follow along with more barbecue and grilling content that I've got coming down the pipeline. And until next time, happy grilling.